Hi, I am Siobhan Nealand. I am a senior leadership client lead for the LEAP events team. So the LEAP program is Leadership Engagement Advancement Program. And what it does is it helps interview coaching for senior talent, senior leaders in our interviewing process, help coach them how to build their stories through the lens of our leadership principles, have more advocacy for themselves with any kind of imposter syndrome, or if they've been promoted a lot in their career, they may not have that voice of how to talk about themselves at the level that we need to. We also have a very unique interviewing style here at Amazon and AWS. We expect you to explain all the ways that you've done whatever you've done, whatever methodologies, processes, mechanisms you did that make you good at what you do, that most companies don't interview for. We help give you those tools and resources and show you how to build those stories here. We also give you more access to our leaders, getting to interview us, see if this is the type of company you want to be a part of. You get more one-on-one conversations, informationals with the business that you're interviewing for with one of our LEAP programs. That way, you're getting to decide, are there people who look like me? Is this a place I want to work? What is it like in the day in the life of this? Getting more opportunities to interview us. Again, that helps you advocate for yourself and your career. What you start to notice is when people have more access points and engagement points like this, they tend to perform better in their interviewing. There's a 30% uptick in on-site to offer success if they come through our interview leadership coaching program. So these are the kinds of things that we hope to continue to build out and hear from our customers and our candidates. What are the areas where they're feeling they need more support? And we continue to build out our product offerings to make sure we're giving them the tools and the resources to feel included and engaged in our interviewing process, as well as to be successful once they're leaders here. 16 years ago, I started a nonprofit called One Mama. It helps impoverished women have babies safely in sub-Saharan Africa, women who live under $1.25 a day. It's a birthing center, medical center, economic sustainability. And what I work with the United Nations to have consultative status to help make sure I'm empowering these communities to have advocacy for themselves with all of these issues. And it's been such a soul-building experience. But part of how I make my money is by recruiting. And I wanted to bring that same experience because I saw all of these really amazing, diverse leaders who needed these extra touch points. And so LEAP just sort of organically came out. And so I feel like LEAP has become the evolution of what I do with One Mama, but I get to do it. Amazon's cool enough to let me build something called LEAP and build this innovative idea and solve a problem globally that's never really been thought about in recruiting. How do we coach candidates to really be better at advocating for themselves in the interviewing process? How to understand it so that we can really uncover some of those amazing leaders that we may not have thought to hire before. And not that they weren't already amazing people or leaders, but a lot of times people don't make it through our interviewing process because it's pretty complex and intense. And so taking some of those same things I learned in my nonprofit world and working on that large scale outside of Amazon and bringing some of those innovative ideas. And again, there's no other company I've ever worked for, which I've worked for a lot, that would let me just come up with some of this creative thing. 75% of my candidates were having this problem and they were considered the top in their field. And it really became so simple. It was that most people don't know how to talk about themselves. They can interview hundreds or thousands of people, but they don't know how to talk about themselves. Most of us are somewhat clumsy with our interview skills. We'll upskill our technical skills, our leadership skills, our business skills, but most of us don't upskill our interviewing skills. And what's fascinating is that you just give that little bit of lift. Candidates are increasing their performance by 30%. If you add the touch points where they get to meet our leaders and have more informationals and know more and feel more heard, all of a sudden it increases to 50% on-site to offer success. So it's very similar to what I do outside, where if you give people tools and resources, they empower themselves to do better, be better, feel better about themselves in the world. And, what could be better than to move the needle of change with simple things with making people feel like they matter. What's very fascinating about Amazon and what differentiates it across all of Amazon's businesses is that we use this function with the leadership principles. Now, when you don't work for Amazon, it's really hard to understand what those leadership principles really mean. Most companies have a plaque on a wall that sort of says, here's how our code of conduct. This is not actually how we do it. We want to understand how you think through the lens of the leadership principles. And so when most people come to interview here, they're not seeing that. They're just thinking of a plaque or I'm going to memorize these leadership principles. What we want you to show us is how you're going to problem solve using those fundamentals of our leadership principles, as well as methodologies, processes, mechanisms. We want to understand how we want to be able to give you the keys to build something that has never been built before on a global scale. And then we want to know you have all the tools and the methodologies to go do that. We want to understand once you are here, you can come and build something that's global very quickly, and you can be extremely innovative. No matter whether you're a manager or an individual contributor, it doesn't really matter your level, everybody gets to come and be a builder or an innovator. The LEAP program has 3 offerings. The first is the Virtual Interview Coaching Lounge, where we coach is a 60-minute class where we coach leaders on how to interview with us. The second is the LEAP Leadership Engagement On-Site Summit. And really what we do is we take multiple touch points to engage a candidate. There's the Virtual Coaching Lounge where we're doing one-on-one coaching. Then we also have a panel of leaders where you get to meet our senior leadership that you wouldn't really normally get to meet in the normal interviewing process. These are the people, what I call to say, running the ship. We also set up on-site interviews with all of the top interviewing leaders from that division or for that job family. And we set it up a little bit uniquely where we are interviewing opportunistically across a whole job family across AWS, not for just one specific requisition or one specific team. So we are trying to help create an environment where we put like 7 different touch points, smash them together, and take the normal recruiting process and kind of tip it up a little bit. And what happens is we end up having a 50% on-site to offer success rate for our candidates who come through. We've had 85% of that be diverse leaders at the senior level. We are seeing a continued at least 50% on-site to offer ratio and a 75% or more increase in diversity in our leadership. Hearing candidates say that this was one of the best interviewing experiences of their career, having customers tell me that they feel really excited about this process for their candidates, that they're getting really, the bench of leadership that they're getting for their teams is phenomenal. I think probably, but even more so is the more personal, when I get these really personal emails where a woman says, I've been promoted my whole life. I've never interviewed well. This is the first time anyone really believed me or gave me the support I needed. And they've been in their career for 30 years. And I don't know, I get chills as I say that, because I just feel like, I'm serving a need. I'm really helping our customers and our candidates in a way that is so simple and primal, honestly. So people feeling heard and needed and supported, and really, could there be any better gift than that? What excites me about the future, especially with the LEAP program, is we're scaling this globally right now. So it is in North America, LATAM, EMEA, APJC, and by the end of this year, we'll have probably 15,000 people who have attended our virtual interview coaching lounges, our leadership lounges. We'll probably have 3,000 people attend our leadership panels. What's really exciting to me is that I've also seen this increase in our diversity in our leadership from, maybe 5% with the types of roles that I was working with to now 30, 45% of a really diverse leadership bench, and giving more voices to different groups and more intersectionality in the ways that we're solving problems with those different diverse groups. That's exciting to me. That's moving the needle of change and really truly having more representation and a voice for that representation in a way that, in one of the most, there's not many companies that can do what Amazon does, especially AWS is growing at such a scale that, to be able to influence this many leaders around the globe and give them the tools that they need. I really can't think of anything else in my career that would, as far as my recruiting career, that could be more impactful. It starts to balance out what I'm doing globally with my nonprofit. We get hundreds of feedback from candidates saying this was one of the best interviewing experiences of their career, even if they didn't get an offer. To me, that's a good sign that people are just hungry for feeling engaged, connected. That means they want to come back and interview again in 6 months. Maybe they'll continue to do our coaching lounges for another 6 months until they can get their interviewing skills up. I've had candidates who've been in domestic violence situations. They said the coaching lounge and the LEAP program helped them feel more confident to interview. They hadn't interviewed since they'd left their domestic violence situation. These are surprising situations where, that's not a benefit that I would have expected out of that, right? So these are those kinds of things where we're giving lift to people who I wouldn't have really thought that this class was going to make that particular audience feel so much more supported. So simple. When we learn how to advocate for ourselves and we can learn how to communicate who we are, what we're capable of, and be able to partner with others to communicate so they can partner better with us in our day-to-day job, not just in our interviewing, we all do better.